Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I am Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with two guests, not one only, but two great guests. And let's welcome both of them. Let's welcome Haelee first. How are you, Haelee? Haelee, can you hear us? Oh, so let's work with Dedrick first.
Yes, I can hear you. It's just freezing a little bit.
Yeah, I think it freezes. You can definitely also you can check logging in with your phone if you find this connection slow. For let's so tell us about
Okay.
yourself.
About me,
Yeah. Mhm.
um, I am 13 years old, seventh grade. I wrote two books. I co-authored my second one, but my first one that I wrote by myself is The Rules. Book that I co-wrote was with my dad, which is The Journey, Fire and Gold. Um, just a brief overview what mine is about that I wrote by myself. It's about
Wow.
self-esteem and overcoming depression and anxiety. And then the Journey, Fire and Gold goes deeper into depression and anxiety and what actually went me.
Okay,
So,
great.
and then I also have my own business, which is the Rose of a Big Boss LLC.
Oh wow, you're too young, and but you've got a good start. Congratulations! I think it's amazing what you are doing and what you are
Thank you.
looking to do. Definitely, yes, congratulations. So, tell me a little bit. Let's go to your dad. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, Dr. Moby. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. You know, it's wonderful. When I saw that, I said, "Well, I better have him as a guest." Sure.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your journey.
Well, Haley and I are very similar in that, we run in a lot of the same veins. But she's the actual star of the family. I'm just or she's the driver. I'm the passenger. So Haley was the initial author, and she motivated me to write and to tell the rest of the story. So she and I are both published authors. She has wrote two books. I'm only on number one, so she's ahead of me in that regard. We're both motivational speakers. We co-host a YouTube channel called the Rules of a Big Boss, and on that channel, we talk about a lot of her rules and things and deal with like self-esteem, self-love, and things of that nature. We walk through various different activities or whatever, and so on and so forth to try and help people build up their self-esteem, self-love, and whatnot. I co-host a podcast called Talk Truth Series, which is based out of Jamaica, and it broadcasts from there across the United States or whatever. And we bring on different guests so that they can talk and share their different stories and things that motivates them, and to try and uplift and encourage people and give them a voice and help them elevate their platforms. As far as Haley's first book, I was while she wrote it, I edited it and published it for her. The second book, with that first book being called The Rules of a Big Boss, the second book, she and I co-wrote it together, and her company actually is the publisher of the book. So we have our company set up so that it provides clothing, books, and accessories that are all centered around empowerment for children and adults.
Mhm.
And she's the boss. She's actually the CEO of the company. I work for her, so I'm more or less her manager and COO.
Okay, that is very nice, very nice. So how does it feel to be CEO, Haley? Haley, how does it
Um,
feel?
it's definitely something that I can um it makes me feel pretty successful, but at the same time I just feel like how I normally feel, which is just fine and pretty humble.
Great. Oh, yeah, that is a great thing to feel humble. And also tell me a little bit about, some of those books. I know your motivation was self-esteem and dealing with depression, I assume. And so tell me a little bit about that.
Um, So, like the way that the Rules of a Big Boss, the book of self love, is like set up, it is like each chapter is like a different rule, and it goes into different things that you like have to achieve and have to like the different stages that you have to go through in order to like get that high self esteem and get that confidence. One of them
Mm,
being just like taking time for yourself and truly finding yourself, and that's like the building block for everything. So that first chapter, which is that
mm,
role that I just said, that is like leading on to everything else.
mhm,
And then the unexpected journey fire goes into my last chapter, which is centered around like depression and anxiety, which is like it doesn't define you and it doesn't make you who you are. So like that's what that chapter is like dedicated to. And then the unexpected journey that goes like more deeper into it and explains like how I went through it and more the legal aspects of it rather than the personal and how it doesn't define you.
mhm. Also, let's switch back to Dedrick. So, tell me a little bit about how, is it based? These books are based on personal experience, or is it also some of things which you saw?
No, everything is firsthand. No, everything is firsthand personal experiences. So, if you don't mind me going off on a tangent a bit, so Rules of a Big Boss deals with Haelee's journey with dealing with low self-esteem and things of that nature. And her low self-esteem was, actual clinical diagnoses of, agoraphobia, anxiety, and agoraphobia, anxiety, and school phobia.
Mhm.
And reason being is because she went through a litany of bullying. That wasn't just a typical bullying that you would deal with on a day-to-day basis, like name calling and things of that nature. Her bullying actually involved sexual assault, physical assault, attempted murder, the spreading of perverse rumors, and name calling. And she was only 7 years old at the time
Mhm.
when all of this stuff started going on. And she went through this stuff, from the age of 7 till until she was about 12. So being at home with COVID allowed her an opportunity, to sit back, reflect, and absent, sit back, reflect. Because I mean, what did we all have over the summer? It was a lot of time to think. And she started writing in a journal, and she started writing in that journal, and she bought the journal to me, and I read it, and I said, Haelee, this is very good. You should turn it into a book, as opposed to just leaving it as a journal that you're just going to keep amongst your friends. And I asked her, did she want to publish it? And she said, yeah, sure. So we published the book on June 25th of 2020, and the book received rave reviews, and people started asking and clamoring for more. And they really wanted us to go down the rabbit hole of really talking about the bullying in and of itself, because the book itself, the first book, talked about a journey. It wasn't just focused on bullying, it was focused on low self-esteem and all those things, and how to build yourself up from those low points in life. So I said, okay. In November, she and I sat down, and I said, okay, let's go ahead and start crafting, the build on or the bridge in the which is the unexpected journey, fire and gold. So that book goes into, my side of the story, and the effects that I was having and the impact on my life, and witnessing these things and everything. And it also includes the personal things that I was dealing with, which included, employer retaliation, discrimination, things of that nature, so on and so forth. It goes into like how I had to get the president of the United States involved to get her some help and things of that nature, because of the rampant bullying that she was going through. And Haelee was suicidal as a result of everything that she endured. So this book right here was basically her tool that she used for healing. And she used that book saying, I am going to help other people heal. So she came to me and she said that she wanted to start at some point in the future. She wanted to have her own clothing line and whatnot.
Mm,
And I said, why not now? And she asked me, what do you mean? I said, go ahead and start your own clothing line now that's based around your book, that's centered around your book. And, with your big boss rules or whatever. So you call it more or less big boss gear, which is self esteem gear. And, we could get it trademarked and everything, and we could go from there. You already have your own clothing line. So then, once you get to college and everything, you have a heck of a portfolio because you can show that not only are you a published author, you're a small business owner. And I was like, you got 5 years to go before you even get there. So I asked her, is that something she wanted to do? And she said, yeah, sure. So I said, okay, well, we will use this book as the bridge for everything. So the name of the company will be called the Rules of a Big Boss LLC, and everything that you and I output will be under the umbrella of that. Will be under the umbrella of that company. So as you can see, looking on the front page of the book, well,
mm,
right there, you can see her logo showing that her company is actually the publisher of the book. That's her trademark. So, that the unexpected journey, goes into how she and I both were basically survived persecution. And despite, all of the obstacles and hardships that we dealt with, we
mm.
still survived. So both books are motivational books to, to try and help people move past their troubles in life.
Hmm. Well, congratulations, Haelee, to get the book also out, and also your journey, with overcoming so many difficulties at your such a young age. That means a lot. I mean, everybody faces some of the problems, but you're at your age. To overcome that, I think is a big achievement by itself, and coming with a book is, of course, another achievement to help so many people.
Thank you.
Okay, so Haley, also tell me about. I would like to ask you a little bit about bullying and dealing with depression or with self-esteem. How was it? What things have helped you to overcome that?
It was mainly turn off social media. Like, I'm not saying that I wasn't on it because I'm on it like pretty frequently, like all the time. There's never a time that I'm really not on it. But I did have to like take a break, and I was off of it most of the time, sometimes, but not really. So I like took the time off of it, and I just more so focused on my religion, which is Christianity. So I'm more so
Mm,
focused on my relationship with God than I did with anything else. And the I had like started to think about anything negative or anything about that, I would like automatically distract myself. So I would focus
mm,
on
mm,
bigger things and things that were higher than me. And that like gave me the strength that I needed in order to finally recognize it and stop ignoring it and doing other things. So after taking that break from all negativity thing and cutting off all the toxicity, after taking a break from that, I was finally ready to like face it head on. And what I did is I just focused on what I loved. So I did everything that I loved, and then eventually it started to like come to me about like getting my self-esteem higher up. And then I also watched a lot of self-help YouTubers, like a lot. I still do,
mm.
but yeah.
Okay, so tell us, you would like to share some of the tips you have learned from the watching YouTuber, or what you have kind of that has helped you.
Um, what I have learned from one of my favorite YouTubers, her name is Tati Coakley. What I learned from her is that what somebody else thinks of you is none of your business. Like, even if it is about you, that is their personal thoughts, and and you really don't have a right to know. Just like nobody has a right to really know what's going on inside your mind. It's the same with other people. So somebody else's opinion of you is none of your business. And if you spend the rest of your life like worrying about what other people um do and worried about what other people think about you, you're never going to be happy because you're never going to satisfy everyone. And you especially can't do. So that's the biggest thing that I learned from her. And then from Love Your Natural, which is my second favorite YouTuber, what I learned
Mhm.
from her is like more how to navigate with toxic friends and how to navigate through different friendships and becoming a better friend and bettering yourself personally. I can't remember everything. It's more like would have to come to me while I'm like actually in the situation. And then all the other YouTubers that I follow is more of like keeping proper hygiene and keeping your mental health in check and like more so taking care of yourself.
Hmm. Okay. So, but those messages kind of stick out more, kind of resonated more with you to find a solution, right? And and also you've mentioned that you have strong faith and strong beliefs, right?
Yes.
Like, and that's always good. They have always seen people who have faith and they have things to believe in. They always have a better outcome in terms of any problem, not just bullying. Life is tough, and you will have so many tests throughout your life, and even I have, and I'm sure Mr. Dedrick has, everybody has, and will be tested again and again. And but if you have faith and if you believe in yourself, those are the two things, then there is nothing in this world that can really destroy you. You'll always come above it, and next one you'll be stronger. So what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So
Amen.
right. So I'm really very happy that at your age you have that knowledge of having connection, religious and spirituality. That's so meaningful, so important for somebody. I think a lot of our problems are because we don't have that faith, yeah, kind of thought. So if you have that, whatever, you can have any faith you want, but you need to have faith, right? So you need to have something positive. You need to have hope. If you don't, then medicines or everything, friends, nothing works. So it is what we all believe in. So, what is your thought, Mr. Dedrick, with such an important topic? Now, I'll ask you one quick question about that. It's a lot of minorities are worse in that aspect, bullying, depression, and and that of course includes me too. And then because we all have kind of some different problems, but some are grouped together in terms of we are the worst, kind of get everything worse, right? So,
Hmm.
um, whether it's COVID, whether it is, diseases health wise. So a lot of bad things are there, but this is important that we educate, we help each other, we help community, and self-help, and try to educate and help each other. So tell me, Mr. Dedrick, about your thoughts that it is more prevalent in minorities.
Well, it's funny that you should say that because I'm a bit of an outlier. um, let me, before I answer that question, let me go around my elbow to come back to my arm. So, Haley had her issues or whatever that she dealt with depression or whatever, and they had an effect on me too. And in being transparent, I actually have anxiety disorder and I have major depressive disorder. And despite all of that, I'm a jovial person and I fight and I battle with it every day. And every day is a struggle. And I go in the unexpected journey. I actually talk about those anxieties and depressions and things of that nature. And one of the big things is, I was prescribed medication by my PCP, and I was diagnosed back in 2014.
Mm.
So I was given medication pretty much from that time on till now. I'll be on it forever. But the thing that I did besides just medication is I went to therapy. And my therapist said that, she wanted me to be able to be independent of medication. And in being independent of medication, it's all in your mind and it's all in your mindset. The, what do you call it? The laws of attraction and things of that nature. And, she said, I'm going to teach you how to live with these things independent of the medication. You're still going to have to take the medication, but the medication won't be a mood enhancer for you. You will know how to enhance your own mood. So I've been seeing a therapist pretty much since a short time after my diagnosis, off and on. And unfortunately, for various reasons or the other, actually for several different reasons, minorities don't believe in, therapists. And, there's a multitude of reasons that come into play. In some cases, it's due to being uninsured. In other cases, it's due to being underinsured. Other cases, you run into confidentiality. If I share this with him or her, will the information that I provide truly be protected, or will it be used against me? We also, a lot of us look at it as, seeing that we need help. We see it as, weakness, and seeing it as a weakness is generally speaking because we've always had to be so strong with respect to, just living through life. Like, I mean, look at what Haeelee's had to go through. She had to develop strength at 7 years old. Um, that's a pretty common thing in, minority communities with children having to grow up fast. And, being, mom having to work 2, 3 jobs, and a 5-year-old having to basically, help raise a 2-year-old while mom's at work or whatever. So those things come into play. And then another issue that comes into play is not being able to find doctors who identify with you or can truly understand your struggle and things of that nature. So you
Yeah.
run into, cultural barriers there and things of that nature. Um, and then, you and I both being men, one of the things that we'd like to do is we don't like to talk. We like to bury our things and, deal with them internally or whatever.
Mhm.
And that ends up leading to a lot of battles. And unfortunately, my keeping and dealing with things and dealing with everything that was going on, that
Mhm.
helped play a part in me becoming disabled in developing these diagnoses. Had I, taken advantage of used my insurance and taken advantage of therapy, when the stuff first started, I may not have ended up becoming disabled. But, there's no time like the present. I did go once things got too bad. And, and I'm glad that I waited until things got too bad because given my journey, I'm able to counsel people and say, going to therapy is a gift. Sitting down talking about things is a strength. It takes a strong man to admit. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say strong man. It takes a strong man or woman to admit that they need help. It takes a weak man or woman to just sit back and bottle everything up. So we have to be willing to sit back and talk. And we could do it, face to face, virtually. You could just write in a journal or whatever. But somehow or some way, you have to get those things out of you. And unfortunately, in the minority communities, we tend to keep those things inside, and it ends up destroying us.
And that is true. You know, there are definitely a lot of issues which you have pointed out, and at abroad. But I always find, that we need to have help each other, pretty much, kind of build strong bridges among us. So I think that, in my opinion, help self help as well as community help, whatever we can get support.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, minorities are also most divided. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
they are also, kind of least supportive of each other. So, this is
Hmm.
also sad, very sad. Uh,
That is
so,
very true.
but we need to do have definitely a better understanding, not only understanding education and also help each other. So that's why I think we need to have these books, and we need to have these programs, so people can, first of all, we need to highlight that these are the issues we are having.
Mhm.
And then, so we need extra help. I mean, look at, for example, COVID is worse in, minorities. It's really
Yeah.
devastating for many reasons, not only illness, but also financially.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but we are just, that's been unfortunately, when the aid comes, when the vaccination even came, unfortunately, they kind of skipped some of those worse ones.
Yes.
I'm sure you knew that.
Yeah.
So those are the reality, but we have to help. I wish they they kind of do that like they did, the most vulnerable population. They helped give the vaccine.
Hmm.
So they should have done same thing for minorities and high risk and all those, because
Yes.
we are getting the worst of all. So those are the important things, and that makes a difference to somebody's life. So
Absolutely. And and the big thing is it all comes with education. And
mhm.
I shouldn't say education, I should say community education.
Yeah.
We have to be out there with boots on the ground, educating people in these minority communities, speaking about, the benefits of this versus that, and so on and so forth. Like, if you look at it right now, like if you would have taken us back in time and said in 2013, would I be a motivational speaker? Absolutely not. I didn't have the capability in me to be able to do it. But given my journey and my struggle, z- sorry, I shouldn't say mine, I should say our, but given our struggles and everything and time to reflect and, being able to build past that brokenness, it's like now I can use that to try and help other people. And one of the things that we're trying to do in the book is try and be, transparent and informative because, like, look, here I am, see me, see, here I am, here we are, see us. We have these disabilities, but we don't allow these disabilities to become us. We're perfectly fine. We're perfectly normal when the lights are on. When the lights are off, sometimes that's when we have our issues. But still we rise. We rise like lions out of a fire. And saying these are the benefits of going in and talking to count therapists or whatever, and so on and so forth. Now I do know that if I did stop taking my medication, I do know that I would have a setback and a relapse or whatever. So I'm completely aware of that. But a lot of minorities think that once you start to feel better, you can start winging yourself off of your medication, and you see that a lot in like people that are bipolar or whatever. They'll stop taking the medication and they will end up having a relapse. And being cognizant of that, saying, even though I know that I'm feeling great and I've been feeling great for years, I'm going to continue to take my daily medication. Now, of course, I miss a dose here and there. Everyone does. But missing one day isn't going to hurt anything. But if I miss 30 days, okay, that's another problem in and of itself. But,
Mm.
it's the education of, everything. As far as the COVID vaccine, I got it. I received the COVID vaccine, and the biggest thing that I dealt with was just a pain in my arm and fatigue. I didn't
Yeah.
have any other problems with it outside of that. And it's a big culture of mistrust, and to be able to get past that mistrust, we had to put those boots to the ground, and we had to develop educational programs that speak specifically to minority communities, because there is no one cookie cutter approach that you can use and say, hey, the same thing that we use for Asians is going to work for Hispanics, or the same thing that we use for Hispanics is not going to work for African Americans, and so on and so forth. You have to build the concept as you go out and get into these communities, and you have to build trusted relationships with them. And if you build those trusted relationships, people will listen.
That's true. And thank you for highlighting that. Thank you for both of you joining in. And any final thoughts you would like to say to my audience?
Haelee has a really good one.
Haelee, it's your time.
Um, so I actually wrote down some of like my favorite quotes that I like to end off with. So give me 1 second. Okay. So My first one is love the person that you're with because you're your only constant. So that means you're always going to be with you. Like anybody else, it may be a bitter pill to swallow, but anybody can leave you. Literally, anyone who is not you can leave you at any time, and you never know when that is. So best to just love yourself because regardless whether you like to hear it or not, you're always going to be stuck with yourself. So it is what it is, and might as well just learn to love you and just learn how to navigate how you would, and you'll be good pretty much. And then my second one is you never know what's truly important until you have to choose. So two important things like mental health or staying with somebody else because their mental health is bad. So if your mental health is bad but somebody else is too and you want to help them but yours is bad, how can you do that? So in that situation you have to choose, and most likely you're going to choose like somebody else and then you're going to end up choosing yourself in the end, but that's a whole nother story. And then my third one is when you get what you want, that's God's direction or whoever you believe in. Um, that's God's direction. When you don't get what you want, that's God's protection. So that can apply to atheist or not, if you believe in like the universe or any other God, or if you don't believe in anything, period. But just know that there is something like protecting you and directing you. So when you get what you want, then that's your direction that you're supposed to go in. And then if you don't, then that's protecting you. And then my third one is don't expect a snake to not be a snake. So don't expect somebody who is fake to be real to you. Don't expect a liar to not lie to you. So just take people for what they are because that is what they are. And if you keep trying to have all of these unnecessary and all expectations for them that you know that they can't like possibly do because either they don't want to or they just can't, you're always disappointed every time. And then my last one, which is some people are only meant for a season and there's always a reason. And that means that some people are only supposed to be in your life for a certain amount of time and then there's always a reason why. And that's all I have.
That's beautiful. She summarized the whole thing. Very, very well, very well. So I really enjoyed it, and especially your last ones. That's really right on the money. Okay, great, great talking to you both, and take care and good luck. Okay, take it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Take care.